Okay.
Hi there.
Hi.
Welcome once again to Platform and Possibilities. I'm your host, Corinne J. Phipps Benjamin, and I'm always delighted for the opportunity to present to you one of our featured guests to share a piece of what they offer to the world and to you, the listener, first of all. So, again, I'm Corinne J. Phipps, and welcome to Platform and Possibilities. Today, we are graced with the presence of Leah Williams. She is a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, specifically from Lodge Project in St. Kitts. And she
Actually,
joins
this village.
it's
Right?
Atlas. Thanks for
Yes.
checking me on that. Thanks for checking me on that. And she's here today, Leah. Thanks for joining us. You're here today because you are a newly minted author of the book Neither Out Far Nor In Deep.
Perfect. Yes.
I said it right?
Yes.
Leah, tell us a little bit about why we're even having a conversation today. Tell us a little bit about yourself and a piece of where your journey began in St. Kitts.
Well, my journey began and probably will end in St. Kitts, but I am literally a daughter of the soil, born and raised in St. Kitts, Atlas Village. Actually, I'm an Italian by birth. The area of Atlas where I grew up is called Little Italy. So if
Okay.
anyone knows about it, they'll know.
Listen, yes, yeah.
Right, they'll know it's Little Italy. I went to Lodge Project School. Then I
Uh-huh.
went to Keon Primary and then went to Keon High School, where I was able to finish out fourth form. So even though I didn't graduate per se, I would consider myself getting my entire education, my foundation anyway, from St. Kitts. So I consider myself to be born and raised, even though I've spent the majority of
Adult life.
my adult life in America. I
Uh-huh.
believe because I was fortunate to get the foundation that I have, it brought me to where I am today.
Indeed.
While I'm not, while I'm an American citizen, I am a petition born, mango loving person. So think it's first.
I hear that. I hear that. And that's a good way to speak about who you are as a human being,
Yes.
even though you've migrated to the US. And this is the story of so many nationals are not just St. Kitts and Nevis, but the whole Caribbean and throughout the African diaspora, so to
Yes.
speak.
Yes.
So you left St. Kitts with a foundation in terms
Yes.
of education, and you headed to Central Florida, and then embraced the arts as a language arts teacher. What
Yes.
was the inspiration? Did that upbringing have something to do with why you ended up in language arts?
I don't know why I ended up in language arts. I don't, you know what? I wanted to teach math.
Mm,
And as I got through calculus and I got a B in calculus and I felt like, oh my gosh, math is so boring. 1 plus 1 will always be 2, right? But
mm,
with language arts, you get the different perspective of just different people. You can read a novel at one point in your life and get one thing from it, and then read the same novel several years later when you've lived life, you've gone through these different experiences, and you get a different perspective. You've learned different things from the novel, stuff that you may have possibly missed. It's the same thing when you're discussing literary work with my students per se, where, for instance, I have 6 periods of children. Someone in first period may acknowledge something in the novel, where someone in fifth period will acknowledge something completely different. So the conversations are a variety of induced knowledge from different people. However,
right.
if I'm teaching,
Attract their interest, so to speak.
so for me, I know for me as an individual, if someone tells me that this is something that you have to do, I am immediately not interested. So I try to influence my parents to not use reading as a punishment. Don't send your kid to their bedroom and say, go read a book, because immediately they'll associate reading with something negative. So you
Right.
want to, as an educator anyway, and a lover of reading, you want to introduce students to something that they can possibly fall in love with. Because the moment that they're able to fall in love with a piece of literature, that's the moment that you capture them. Because reading actually helps you in every single subject, even math. If you can understand the way characters behave, the motivations behind the things that they do, you're certainly able to understand the things that are going on in different subjects like civics, science, because now you're able to problem solve because you've read about different examples. So in order for me to entice my students, I read a broad variety of books.
Right.
I read everything, fantasy, I read graphic novels, I read mystery, I read sports. If you come to me and you say, I can't find a book in your library, or I can't find anything, then we're going to have a conversation. Well, what do you watch on TV? What do you like? What do you do in your spare time? And by the time you're done, I have at least 3 novels for you to be able to take home.
Right.
And, you know, if that doesn't work, I can't help you.
So would you say that this book, Neither Out Far Nor In Deep, would you say this is a piece of reality and some fiction?
It's definitely a mixture of both. One of the things that I realize in reading as many books that I do is that I can't find anything really that students of migration can find to identify themselves. I like to read about people who I can identify with. And I realized that we didn't have anything like that in our classrooms available to people, people who can relate to something like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I feel like I didn't answer that question.
Well, not that you didn't, but I guess you're supposed to say, well, listen, not that you're supposed to say anything in particular. Right. You somewhat answered it. There's a piece of both reality and some fiction in terms of the book. Right.
So as far as reality, I try to not that I'm a professional writer or anything like that, but I'm getting there. But I find that writing about what you know it doesn't make it easier, but it makes it more believable for the reader. I know about traveling to St. Kitts, back and forth to St. Kitts. I know about having a teenage son who doesn't necessarily appreciate nature, appreciate going to the beach, appreciate learning from a community. I know about that. I know about teenagers who have challenges in school. Not my son per se, because he's never been in disciplinary trouble in school because
right.
No, thank you. We're not right. However, because I've taught high school, I've taught middle school, I currently teach at a university. Because I've had these different experiences with young men, young people, I'm able to take those experiences and convey that information in a book so that people can see that, these things, even though it feels like someone's giving up on you. If you really take a moment to sit back, we are not giving up on you. We are trying to assist you because we've been there, done that. If we haven't been there, done that, we've seen people who have gone down your same path. So we're able to help you. So it's a bit of fiction, while the names are not real, right? But the situations are relative.
Right. And even I get a sense that even Kadeem in this case, he's familiar with the travel routine and that came out.
Right.
He had some familiarity. I mean, apart from understanding his ma's disposition in instances when she's not happy, he seems to know, well, hey, I'm not just going on a trip somewhere on the mainland or somewhere in the US, seemingly going beyond. I'm catching a flight outside of the US. So little things like that be caught on to that, hey, you're also, you know, sharing a piece of your familiarity with travel, travel back to St. Kitts. Even when you got to the airport, dealing with the immigration officer and him assessing you, understanding that you were coming home, not you, but the character.
I mean, that's something I do every time.
You say you live in Apples, you're going home. You're not a visitor.
I am not a visitor. I find it offensive
when they say how long you're staying, and you say I live here, and she says, an immigration officer says, welcome home.
Yes.
Yeah, that was interesting. So I think one of the interesting things that you've just talked about is at least making an example of this young man's experience for readers, because at the end of the novel, I think there's a message that you want to to articulate through the pages that a reader reads. Yeah. So what would you say are some of the distinct messages that you think you want the reader to connect with from neither out far nor in deep?
I think one of the most important ones is that community is so important. We live in a society that's, I call it a microwave society, where everything's so quick and fast, and we think we can solve everything on our own, when if we allow a community to assist you, it makes the person, the individual, so much stronger, because you're not just supporting that individual, you're supporting generations after, because after that person learns to appreciate the community that raised him or her, they then transfer that, that same experience to the generations that come after. And hopefully it trickles down to each generation, where every generation after becomes stronger and better just from supporting each other, because no man is an island.
It's true. That's true. I'm piggybacking on what you said earlier about your current roles or your experiences. So you initially taught high school, you've done some middle school, and now you're at the university level, obviously stretching your reach, your impact, and your exposure.
Yes.
So what are you finding different I'm sure there are many differences, some of which I can imagine, but from your experience, in terms of what you're able to share in language arts specifically, what are you?
So I currently teach. I teach both jobs. I teach at both jobs. I'm a full-time middle school English teacher, and a part-time professor at the university, teaching writing and
creative
and reading.
Reading, okay.
It's not creative writing. It's actually a class that prepares you to get into composition 1 and 2.
Okay.
So what it does is it's not that much different from middle school, because these are students who they're not skilled enough to be able to immediately go into Comp 1. So my job is to teach you how to write an essay, teach you how to convey your thoughts in a way that you're not just writing for you, you're writing for a broad audience. So that's it's a little bit different from middle school, but not necessarily, right? Because if you're in college, unfortunately, whatever your major is, you still have to do those 2 years of base classes.
Yes.
Right. So those people who are not able to immediately jump into those courses, that's where I come in. That's what I do. And I feel like I do a really good job at it, because I'm very patient and I teach the way I learn. Everything step by step. And I take my time. I listen if you don't understand. I want to know why you don't understand, so that we can figure it out together. So that's one of the reasons why I think it's not necessarily that different, because the same patience that I have for my middle school students is literally the same patience that I have for my adult students.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. Yeah, patience, important. One of the things that we talked about offline was that you're so infused or so excited about this first novel that there is something else in the pipeline.
definitely.
Talk to us about what next for Leah.
So, earlier you said that you like my writing style off camera. And I thought about that for a moment, because this project is so different from the first one that it's like, oh my gosh, it's just one of the things I don't want to do. I don't want to be trapped in a box where, okay, this was like this, so I have to stay on in the same format. For instance, this is written from first person. The one that I'm working on right now is written in third person, and it's vastly different. And I think it's different because I read so many different genres that I am not, there's no way I'll be able to continue with the same type of writing. But one thing that I'm trying to be consistent on is the sensory details. I always feel like, even I tell my students that the sensory details are so very important in writing, because you want your audience to be able to feel what you're feeling. You want them to smell what you're smelling. You want them to be inside of the story. So it's as though there's a fly on the wall. And that's what I'm trying to be consistent in whatever projects I work on, because I can't teach something and not do it.
I got you.
Yeah.
Got you. So next is it any hint as to where you're taking it? Because you're already concept. So where this next project?
So when I say it's a little different, I can give you a synopsis, because it's literally, it's done.
Wow.
We're in the editing stages, and so it's two sisters who, I have to get out of this single mom situation, but I don't know, because I grew up with both my parents. They're still alive. They still love me more than my brother Dwayne. Right. But these two girls, the mother keeps them in this sort of situation where they have to stay together. And she barely allows them to go any place, because every place that they go, if they go to the mall, you can get pregnant at the mall. If they go to the grocery store without them. So these two girls are together, and one of them goes missing. And the younger sister she's not waiting on authorities to look for her sister. So she goes on this quest to find her sister along with her friend. And they're looking for this. The mother is distraught, because it's just a completely different situation. When you've protected your children so much for something like this to happen.
Yeah. Sounds like some type of mystery, like a mystery, keeping readers on their toes.
It is a mystery, and I wanted to do that. I'm trying to do this sort of, okay, I want to do an island book, and then I want to do something that's more relative today, and then I want to do another island book, and then I'm going to do it. So I'm trying to, I just want to write.
Right.
I want to write, and I want to produce. I want to do all these different things, and I feel like there should be nothing that stops me.
Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, a woman after her own heart. I hear your excitement and how you want to be very, very, diverse in what you put out there, and reflection of who you are. Because if you read that many genres, obviously your taste for other alternatives in terms of writing is heightened. You're excited that is heightened. So there's so much more that we can talk about, but I wanted to get a sense of, I know that you have a family, you have a son who's blossoming as a teenage, a good example of what it's like to be a good teenage,
Yes.
teenage. And then you did say you were married and you moved to Central Florida when you left St. Kitts and Nevis.
Yes.
Are you in any way looking to return to St. Kitts anytime soon in terms of not just traveling now, not just visiting? What are you looking at long term with your family? Are you thinking of?
I never say never. And I recently returned from St. Kitts from vacation, and if I was to decide right now if I would go back to St. Kitts and live, I would definitely tell you no. Because it was so terribly hot. And I'm even ashamed to say this because this is my birthplace. This is where I grew up. I love St. Kitts. However, when I am here in Central Florida, I'm barely outside. And if I'm outside, it's from the house which is AC, to the car.
It's hot outside there too. It's not like so cool in Central Florida.
But it's a different type of heat because the AC is always AC. Every place is AC. Where in St. Kitts, unfortunately, when if I want AC, I gotta go to Domino's or some business place or something like that. But long term, I would love to retire in St. Kitts. I want to wake up to the sounds of crickets and the dogs barking and the fowls running around. And if you join all this stuff together, it's like this orchestra of music where it's not your alarm going off. It's this natural wake.
Sound of nature.
Right. It's the sound of nature. And it's sometimes you get up and then the rain starts falling. And the sound that when the rain hits the tinning, right? And when the rain, it makes this different type of music that you can't purchase on Spotify. You can't get it on any, it's this type of feeling that you get where, oh my gosh, I'm home. I'm home. Yeah. So if I was to think about like right now, no, but retiring home would probably be, that's one of my goals. That's one of my goals, at least to have a home where, I know my uncle goes back and forth and I envy that. So that's something I look up to him for, being able to do that. And yeah, why not?
Why not, right? There's a saying that goes something like, home is a place we grow up wanting to leave, and the place we grow old wanting to go home to. I'll go home to. Yeah. Special. That place called home.
Yes.
It comes to ooh and ah and oh and why not? But timing is everything, like you said.
Yes.
So before we, bring this chit chat to a close, we have to talk about a fun thing that I don't know about. Leah, I saw your profile when I searched you up. I wanted to spotlight 10 women for International Women's History Month back in March. And I found you and I found a little snippet about you. So that's another fun fact about you that's nowhere on the footprint of the internet, so to speak.
Okay. And thank you again for featuring me. I really appreciated that. One fun fact about me, so I'm really good at writing reviews. And one of the things I like doing is critiquing food. I'm really good at, tasting every little thing that's in there and deciding. I'm a foodie. I'm a big foodie, so I really like food. However, I'm so good at critiquing people that, I'm not really a good cook. So I can tell you all the things that it's missing, what you need to do to change it. But as far as me doing it myself, that's not happening. I actually think I'm allergic to being in the kitchen. I think my only purpose in the kitchen is to be able to go in, get my food and eat it and then leave. I don't even think I'm good at washing dishes or that's not my thing.
Listen, if you're reading so many books, who got time to cook?
No
You know?
time.
No time.
That's exactly the reason.
No time, no time. Although, let me tell you, I really enjoy the Audible or Kindle format. It's
Mhm.
a good roll up in bed with a book, but
Yes,
I tend to fall asleep. I won't get to 3, 4 chapters very
yes,
fast.
yeah.
Um, Found that I've really enjoyed the Audible um, platform or Kindle. Yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
audio. So, how do we promote you? How do we get the word out?
Well, my work is on Amazon. I'm on Amazon. I'm also on Barnes and Nobles. You can follow me in all social media platform, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Kitty Writer One, KITTI, Writer, WRITER One, as in
Mhm.
Petition Writer One.
Yes, yes.
So yes, I'm all social media, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. So whatever social media comes up and I create a platform, it will be Kitty Writer One.
Right.
I really want to showcase my country as much as I possibly can. One of the things I experienced when I went home, I went into the Law's bookstore, the one that, this is this bookstore where we get our textbooks,
Yeah.
and I wanted to discuss with the manager about, the different types of novels that they have in the store, because of course I want you to start selling my novel. I'm a native. And I went in the store, and when she showed me the section, she had only Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew. And
Uh-oh.
I thought for a moment, oh my God, I wish I had the money to create my own bookstore on this island, because neither one of these books, while they're great classics if you want to, and they're great books, I've read every single one of them, they are neither or will never be a reflection of who we are as a people. And it's about time where people begin to see themselves in print. So
True.
that's one of my main goals in becoming a writer.
Right.
Yeah.
Spread the word about who we really are
Yes.
and our impact as a people, our
Yeah.
culture, and something to reflect who we are, like you said.
Right. And I'm hoping with, people can see what I've done, and some students, some young girls, some young men would decide, what, she can write a book. She's from the little island of St. Kitts. I can do it too. So if I can, influence someone to be better, to strive for whatever they want to strive for, by all means, do
Yeah.
it. Do it.
Do it. It's the ultimate give back. And you know
Yeah.
what? As we end, for me, we could piggyback again on how you started, because you started to talk about your foundation, how
Yes.
that shaped you are, and to see that who you have, who you are, who you have become because of that foundation. You're now wanting to give back in that sense of ensuring that some little girl, some little boy, rights the opportunity to see their potential in your work. That's
Yes.
a full circle right there.
Yes. 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 Hopefully it works.
Well, you just gotta keep at it. Just keep at
Oh,
it.
nothing's stopping me. The only thing that can stop me at the moment is death. So hopefully, Lord, you've given me plenty more years, and
Yes, yes. For your son to see you, thrive and excel, and for him to walk in his path as well. And
definitely.
mommy and daddy.
Yes.
Exciting times. This was a wonderful conversation. I didn't expect anything less. And you are a phenomenal woman.
Thank you.
Your range, your impact, your abilities are nothing shy of impressive, Leah. And I say that not just because we're on camera, but I see your work
Thank
and
you.
your personal life and your professional life. It's clear that you are about the business of make you're a change maker. You see what you go after your goals in with intention, and clearly the results speak for themselves.
Thank you.
So
I appreciate you saying that.
going, and I'll do my best to get the word out there on this platform about neither out far nor in deep.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Leah Williams, the author.
Yes.
Bravo, my dear.
Thank you.
And I didn't ask one last thing, your takeaway for young people who want to, really, immerse themselves in the arts. What kind of advice you give for a, budding writer or some young person? Your advice.
Continue to write. Do not stop writing. If someone gives you, if you display your work and one person dislikes it, that's one person. There are billions of people in this world. Another person will like it. And if no one else likes it, you like it, so publish it.
Good advice. Good advice indeed. Thank you, Miss Leah. And I wish you the best. You know what next?
Thank you.
Thank you for joining on Platform and Possibilities. Until next time. Bye.